What's going on, good people out there? It is NASG and my good friend Jason616 here with a new and updated of an E3 special for our JayNAS Podcast today. Jason, as always, welcome to the podcast. Glad to have you on board, buddy.
Thank you very much, man.
Checking out, no worries, man. All excited checking out E3 and all that sort of stuff, man.
Yeah, it's been crazy. I'm happy to say that a few of my predictions came true, so I'm quite happy about that. But there's so much happening. And there's so much we're gonna have to try and cram into today.
Yeah, mate, I've got a heap to talk about, as we discussed off air. We'll try and cram in as much as we can for everybody. I've got quite a few games I'm excited that's been announced, and I can't wait to talk about them and all that sort of stuff. So, mate, so of course, I mean, like I said, I've got some. I'm not going to exactly mention what they are now. I'll break them out as they go. But I'm super excited. Got some exciting games that I want to talk about, and I'm sure you got some good Nintendo stuff ready to go as well.
Oh, I received the best news from E3. I received the best news.
Excellent.
It was like I just literally jizzed myself. And it was so yeah, and anyone that knows me and what games I like, they'll probably predict what I'm going to say, but I'll get into it later on.
Funny you say that, because if people are listening and they did watch any of E3, they know that there was a lot of jizz in people's pants after the Xbox CD Projekt Red announcement of the Cyberpunk and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of awesome stuff that happened there, mate. But you know what?
It went mad.
If you're ready to go, mate, let's get into it.
Dude, let's go. We've got a lot to cover. Get straight into it. You lead us the way into this.
All right, excellent. I will do, buddy. All right, guys, get yourself tuned in. Turn those eardrums on. They are ready to bleed, because you are now about to get up to date with all the latest in PC, gaming, retro, and Nintendo expertise from myself and Jason616 right here on our JayNAS Podcast on NASG Gameplays. All right, so let's do it, man. I'm going to start off with Cyberpunk 2077. Of course, as I said, we all knew that was going to get announced by CD Projekt Red, announced on the Xbox stage.
Damn good trailer as well.
Mate, it was amazing. I watched the whole thing. It was absolutely incredible. So, of course, the big things is it's made by CD Projekt Red. Everyone's really excited about it. The release date of 16th of April 2020 is just absolutely amazing. It literally is going to be the new benchmark of RPG, open world, single player based games, which is absolutely amazing. So basically, I've gone through some, jotted down some notes, gone through bits and pieces. So, as I mentioned, it's going to be released on 16th of April. It's going to be on all, consoles and PC. Basically, it's now up on Steam at the moment, which is really, really awesome. But just a quick little gist of it, of course, is that you play as a character named V. You create your own character. You can be male or female, and there's a massive fluent skill tree as well, which is really cool. So basically, they still plan to release a couple more AAA titles, but Cyberpunk is definitely the biggest one out there at the moment. Even if they were announcing anything else, it'll just get shadowed by, basically by. CD Projekt Red by Cyberpunk and all that sort of stuff. So, just a beautiful thing to hear that it's been announced. All the custom skill perks and all that sort of stuff. So, basically, the most amazing thing about it that a lot of people have walked away from it is, of course, right at the end of the trailer, where it was Keanu Reeves, as a character in the game, and he's walked out at the end of the stage, and telling a little bit about Cyberpunk and all that sort of stuff. So that was mind-blowing. That was absolutely amazing. That was really, really awesome to hear.
It's kind of funny because it's like 2077, and in the game he looks no older than he does now. I don't know if that's a running joke, because they say he never ages. So I don't know if they put him in the game in 2077 and he looks exactly the same.
Yeah, exactly, mate, exactly. So, but yeah, mate, it was really exciting to see, Cyberpunk and all that sort of stuff getting announced officially. So, as I mentioned before, April next year, it's a bit of a way away. But yeah, man, basically, a lot of people are just going to be like extremely excited about it. I can't wait to play it. It's just going to be so. I don't know how to explain what kind of game it's going to be. It's just going to have everything that we've all always wanted in a game, and it's just going to be, outstanding game. So I'm really excited to see that being announced at E3. Another game that I was quite excited to be announced, even though I didn't really play the other ones, but it still is a great series altogether. And of course, that's Watch Dogs. So the Watch Dogs Legion release date was confirmed. So the release date is late 2020. That's all we got so far. There's nothing really sort of been confirmed in it, but basically late 2020. 3rd of March 2020. I was reading the wrong area. So 3rd of March 2020 is what I meant to say. I believe so. March 6th. There we go. March 6th. Around about. I almost got it right. To be released on all platforms. Yeah, it's got to be released on all platforms. It's in London, a post Brexit sort of gaming sort of post-apocalyptic thing where technology's taken over. You can customize your character quite a bit in this game apparently. So you can even be an old granny and beat up people if you wanted to. So so there's a lot of great animations in it, a lot of drones, a lot of hackers everywhere and all that sort of stuff. So if you're a bit of a Watch Dogs fan, Watch Dogs 3 Legion is definitely a big one to watch out for you as well. So I'd get excited about that if you're a Watch Dogs fan. Enjoy the other two. It's probably going to be their best game yet so far. So definitely one to look out for. And of course, before I hand it to you, mate, probably the next big thing I want to talk about is the announcement, which was very exciting. Even though I'm not a big Xbox fan, but still as a gamer, the official announcement of the Xbox Scarlett to be released in late 2020. So rumour has it around about September, October. Next year. So it's been released with some of the most advanced technology we've seen in any console. It's probably going to be the most powerful console to date. We're still waiting to hear official news from PlayStation. They're in hiding at the moment. I'm sure they'll come out and say something over the next few days. But at the moment, Xbox seems to be something that's on top, mate.
Yeah,
so,
I think Sony, they also make announcements at E3, but I think Sony are going to wait and make their announcement individually, which will blow up the internet. I reckon they're not going to want to share their information with anyone. They want to stand alone when they make their announcement, and that's why I think they're holding back and they haven't done anything at E3. But that's just my speculation.
Well, you're definitely true, man. It's definitely right. I mean, they did decide to do their own thing for a reason. I mean, a lot of people are criticising Sony at the moment for not really saying anything, and people have leaked a bit of information saying that pretty much there's nothing really Sony can announce. But at the same time, we still don't know yet. I'm still waiting to hear what they have to say. I'm sure they got something fancy.
Sony always have something to say.
Yeah, mate, they will. They always have something to say. So I'm hoping to hear what the PS5 specs are going to be, and obviously the release date of Last of Us 2. That's going to be their big ace up their sleeve. So, but mate, I mean, what I've heard about the Xbox Scarlett, basically, it's got Zen 2 and Navi AMD processors, so it's pretty fast. It's got GDDR6 bandwidth performance. It's basically. It's basically a working mini PC. It's rumoured that it's going to support 120 frames per second. I don't know if they're saying it just for the sake of the article. They're putting 8K and 120 frames per second in the same sentence, which is almost impossible because that just doesn't happen. I mean, the high end $5,000 PCs can barely hold 4K at 60 frames a second, let alone a $600 Xbox. So I highly doubt there'll be 8K at 120. It'll probably be 8K maybe at 30 frames a second, and that might be like throttling it a bit, so it might drop 20 frames a second. I'll see 100. I'll be happy with 120 frames at 1080p. That's realistic. I mean, if Xbox was come out at 120. If Xbox was come out at 120, that'd be the first console to ever be able to do that, because everything that's come out in the last consoles have only been peaked at 60 frames a second. So
yeah,
to have it at 120 is pretty awesome, man. And probably the other big thing to come out is that it's hardware accelerated along with the solid state drive, so things will load faster. There'll be almost no loading times as well, which is what they have said in their trailer, which is really, really cool. It's going to be released with Halo as well, the new Halo, which I'll talk about a bit later on. One of the other games I'm pretty excited about, Halo Infinite. And of course, the xCloud. So I haven't really read too much detail into it. As I mentioned before, streaming and recording with the new console generation is going to be in a league of its own. So, the Xbox Project Scarlet launch date of late 2020. With Project Cloud. Project S Cloud is the streaming platform that originally debuted back in March and is currently available hands-on impression at E3 show floor. I think with the cloud, I think they've gone to really sort of jack it up with how they can stream and record and all that sort of stuff, man. So, that's definitely exciting to hear. It's tempting to get an Xbox when it comes out next year, but have to wait and see what happens with PS5 as well, man. But mate, that's a good couple of things I wanted to talk about. I've got more to share, but I want to hear what you got to say, buddy.
Yeah, well, I feel, just finishing off on what you said, with Sony and Xbox continuously have that rivalry, and there's not many games that go onto Xbox that are exclusive and go onto PlayStation that are exclusive. So as far as game announcements are concerned, a lot of them are cross-platform, like Watch Dogs, I'm sure would be. Halo never has been. Halo has been exclusive to Xbox, but I feel like almost like one of them waits for the other one to make an announcement so they can almost make changes or figure out how they can do it. They're just trying to one-up each other. But Xbox put on a strong case at E3 with the Scarlet, so let's see what PlayStation has up their sleeve. But I'm going to turn it around to Nintendo. And what some of the exciting games that were announced from my point of view, and that is the remake of Resident Evil 5 and 6 coming to the Switch.
Nice.
Survival horror. So Nintendo have gone with more survival horror. It's just really out of character. They're really jumping on the horror bandwagon these days. But one thing I loved about the Resident Evil series is that camera angle of looking over your shoulder. It just symbolizes Resident Evil and everything it is. I don't know if you've played much Resident Evil at all.
Not really, bits and pieces.
Yeah,
I played the original PlayStation and that.
It's damn good franchise, and weren't originally Nintendo games, so Nintendo is doing very well at snapping up other games, and people are just saying, oh, all Nintendo are doing is recreating games. That's all they're good for. You could say they might be doing that, but at the same time, and I'll talk a bit about Nintendo and why they're ruling the gaming world, is because they're not, as far as what the Switch can do compared to what the Xboxes and PlayStation can do, you can say it's a very big downgrade in regards to the system itself. But at the same time, Nintendo aren't dropping the price of a Switch. It's still the same. They're not changing the console. They're not doing anything to it. They're just releasing damn good games at a damn good price and keeping the Switch at its price because it is the best-selling console in the world right now. So they didn't have to go in and put up a front on new consoles and new hardwares and nothing. They just went with classic games and good games. And why not? It works. It works for them. Could you imagine just going, I'm just going to go... These games are one thing, but I don't need to keep it at home. I can go and play this anywhere. I can go bring this to a friend's house and sit and play some Resident Evil. Xbox and PlayStation, cool, but Nintendo, it's just something about Nintendo where they just seem one step ahead. They just seem one step ahead. I mean, the Switch was the first HDMI console for them. You think, what the hell? So it's a big step up. And Resident Evil 5 and 6, always good to... I mean, Resident Evil, I think it was 2 that got remade recently, wasn't it? I think it was Resident Evil 2. Yeah, so...
yeah, that's right.
So, yeah. Another game that Nintendo always seemed to do, and I didn't expect it, but, Olympic time is running around. That's Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games Tokyo. Now, I don't know why they have these Olympic-style games. I guess, for me, it's just to not sit there with a controller in hand. It's to get, a whole kind of family together and have a piss about. It's a sports game, but it's a sports game with characters you all love. So it will always do well. And let's face it, the Wii Sports for the Nintendo Wii was their best-selling game. So why not add some sports with Nintendo characters? You'd be all over it, really. So smart play by them. That had it showing. It was really weird because Mario in the trailer looked like he was surfing with his shoes on, but Sonic couldn't. Very, very weird. I'm not going to question it. It's Nintendo. Anything is possible. And the other one as well is Fire Emblem. Three Houses been announced. Now, Fire Emblem, a lot of their games never came to Australia. A lot of them are stuck in Japan. Not this one. We're going to get something brand new worldwide, so it's good to see Fire Emblem is actually now coming to all parts of the world as well. Never been a big fan of Fire Emblem in itself, but it is exciting news to have a worldwide release finally. I mean, yes, you can get a hold of it, but it's not, it's ROMs and stuff like that these days. But good to see that Fire Emblem is coming to the world for everyone to enjoy.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so I'll throw it back to you for some more announcements of your line of E3.
Alright, buddy. So basically, what I would like to chat about next is a couple more games that I'm excited to hear about. So one is a game that's already out, of course, and that's Fallout 76. But they're rolling out some new updates. So they're rolling out the Wastelands update, which is really, really cool. And of course, it's a good thing as well, because this shows that Bethesda really listened to all the criticism and feedback that they got when they released Fallout 76, because the game was a disaster. It really was when it first came out. And so far, I know it's been out since October, I believe. So, it's been out for about, 8 months. People wanted this fixed about 6 or 7 months ago. But, it is better late than never. We all knew premonition that they were going to improve it, but people were saying it's not good enough. This game should be the way it is, how it is now. Like the whole, what I like to call No Man's Sky effect. Ever since No Man's Sky, all these people have come out releasing half-finished games thinking that it'll be okay, and they'll just add updates. Instead of, they release games in pre-alpha, in pre-alpha status, and to try and make extra money of it in the first year. And just handle with a handful of complaints and whatever. The thing is, people may have brought it, but they'll never play it, so they try and introduce microtransactions and all that sort of stuff. But there's no point in microtransactions if no one's playing the game. So little things like that. So the Wastelands update, it's fundamentally going to be changing the game. It's going to do massive improvements to the game, so there's going to be less bugs and all this sort of stuff. Basically, there's going to be a Battle Royale mode, which is going to be pretty cool. The PvP's got to increase as well. And probably the big thing that everyone has asked about initially on the top of everyone's Christmas wish list is to have NPCs in the game. And look, I mean, a lot of hardcore fans have based their gameplay around being the NPC, which was the whole point in the first place. The whole point of not having NPCs is because people were going to be NPCs. They were going to create their own characters and be that type of character, because you can set up your own shops and all that sort of stuff, and help people out, and you can be a real badass and be like a big boss or something like that in the game and all that sort of stuff. So they really wanted to make it hardcore and survival, and they really wanted to make you feel alone in the wasteland. You know what I mean? So and they did just that, but the problem was it was alone and boring. So now they've added more sort of like more of a tangible feel of quests when they now announce NPCs that you would visit with quests and all that sort of stuff, things like that. So it's definitely a good change. I'm glad to hear that they're gonna add some NPCs and add some really good updates and all that sort of stuff. So it's basically it's a good change, and it's a positive change. Yeah. And if they want to do a battle royale mode, then go for it. Anything that they do to Fallout 76 will be an improvement. So I'm glad that they're doing something like that, which is a really good thing. And of course, on the same thing as Bethesda is of course Doom Eternal. So we all knew that's been announced months ago. We knew that was going to get like an official release date announcement at E3, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
But I've heard so many great things about it. So the official launch of it is November 22nd this year.
Cool.
So with all new sort of battle mode multiplayer experiences. So the multiplayer online aspect of it is going to have a massive improvement as well compared to the past Dooms that they've had, which is something I'm looking forward to. Apparently they're going to do like a thing where it's Doomslayer versus demons. So basically, you can basically, a whole bunch of Doomslayers against a whole bunch of demons or something like that. So in the other Doom, it was like they were like a power up sort of thing.
Yeah.
So in this one, it sounds like an all against all, Doomslayer versus Demon sort of thing, all that sort of stuff. So that sounds and looks pretty cool. A lot of people that have played the demo and have stated that basically they state it like as if a lot of mod fans, a lot of mod players have gotten their hands on Doom and have just made it like the best fan base Doom game of people's dreams. Wow. And they reckon it's just awesome. So it's going to be one of those underrated releases, I reckon. So because no one's really hyped up about it, no one's really excited about it. But I am, because I've always been a big fan of the Doom series. But I reckon it's going to be one of those ones because Doom 3 was underrated. That was for sure. A lot of people weren't excited about it when it came out. Like, there was a big hype about it, but people weren't super excited. And people started playing the game and they realised how fucking awesome it was when they started playing it. So it was definitely underrated. And then the new Doom was coming out and that got overrated really quickly. People thought it was going to be awesome. It wasn't really that great. So I think they have to wait and see what happens with Doom External. So that's definitely, again, something I can't wait to play. I'll be looking forward to playing that as well. So many games coming around about time in September, October, November, all that sort of stuff.
It's going to be a good end of year. Get games for Christmas, that's for sure.
Yeah, man. Oh, for sure. And another game that I'm excited about as well, that's coming out around about the same time is of course, Outer Worlds. And that got officially announced as well at E3 of like release dates and all that sort of stuff. So basically with Outer Worlds, that's going to be released this year. That's going to be released October 25th this year. It's done by Obsidian, the original developers of the original Fallout, so Fallout 1 and 2, and I think they had a little bit to do with Fallout 3 as well. But they've created a really awesome sort of futuristic but sort of modern day, post-apocalyptic world, very similar to the Fallout series. So a lot of advanced technology and all that sort of stuff. First-person role-playing open world game. So that's a really exciting game. When I first heard that being revealed, I was quite excited to hear about that. A lot of people were as well. They revealed it around about the same time Fallout 76 was having trouble. So very, very smart move when people were going, fuck Fallout 76, and then they released this. People going, oh shit, this actually already looks better than Fallout 76. It's supposed to be Fallout 76 basically. So, so yeah, man, NPCs and story-based decisions and all that sort of stuff. So, it's coming exclusive to the Epic Games Store as well, which I'm not really too phased about. But just that's something that we have to sort of take with a grain of salt as it comes. But honestly, that's going to be a really cool first-person sci-fi open world sort of thing. It's got a bit of comedy in there as well and bits and pieces. That's as I said, that's October 25 this year. So like so many good games are coming out around that holiday season. September, October, November, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, man, those games. That's another section that I'm very happy to talk about. Very happy to hear. And mate, I'm going to hand it back to you. Let's hear what you got, buddy.
Okay, cool, man. Well, the one that has got everyone, all excited in a Nintendo world is Animal Crossing. Now, they announced Animal Crossing last year, but ever since they announced it, Nintendo, it was all quiet on the Animal Crossing front. There was nothing about it. There was, we didn't know what was going to happen until E3, and they did say we're expecting a March 2020 drop for Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing New Horizons is what it's called. It looks freaking adorable. Almost adorable creepy, depending which way you look at it. Which takes place on a tropical island which players will need to reach via the newest Enterprise air travel. So it looks a bit interesting. Never really got into Animal Crossing. It's not my kind of game, but from the Nintendo camp, people are going ballistic about Animal Crossing. So I thought I'd throw that one in there. It just everyone says the people look cute. To me, they scare the hell out of me. They're almost like Pikmin, if you know what Pikmin are. They're frightening. Anyway, also the announcement of Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Obviously the remake of how they've done that one. And dude, this game looks awesome. Not to mention that they've got an amiibo coming out. If you know what the amiibos are. Little statues that Nintendo do, and you can scan them in, and they give you like certain perks in the game and such like that. Yeah. So I'm just looking. I've lost my release date for that. It's coming up soon. September 20. There you go. September 20, 2019. Yeah. So this September, we're gonna get the drop of that, and a nice little cameo from a Mario bad guy makes it into the game. Remember Chain Chomp? Chain Chomp actually makes a little appearance in Link's Awakening. It looks damn cool. I mean, it looks like something quite special. They've given it the the Pokemon Let's Go kind of treatment, if that makes any sense. How they changed that up. And talking about Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, obviously Pokemon Sword and Shield is set to be released as well in 2019. But that, to me, it sounds exciting. New Pokemon, new generation. They've announced new 3 legendaries, etc., etc. I feel like they're just kind of redoing the same Pokemon Let's Go engine. It's going to kind of be the same game with just different Pokemon.
Reskinning it.
Yeah, and whether or not they're just giving Pokemon fans something new while they are working on that Pokemon RPG game. But in saying that, though, that open world Pokemon game still didn't get announced at E3. I'm beginning to think it's phony, and it doesn't exist. So, I'm tending to agree that's not gonna be anything. But in saying that, Nintendo might still surprise us. But on another little topic on something, I predicted this just last week, and I said that Super Smash Brothers is getting, some more fighters for DLC. Well, I was right. The first is the hero from Dragon Quest. Don't know much about Dragon Quest. Not sure anything to do with Dragon Quest. Never even really heard of it. Couldn't tell you who the hero was. I don't know. But the thing I'm excited about is the fact that Banjo and Kazooie are coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate as fighters, as DLCs. Long overdue for these guys to make an appearance, and I'm so stoked that they are finally getting a position on that fight card, and they come as one, so yeah, they're not separate fighters, they're one fighter, and they are, the trailer that dropped with them, I don't know if you saw it, it was introduced in like a hilarious segment featuring like the Donkey Kong gang, and the bird and the bear turned up. It looks fun. He's got his banjo, he's singing. Kazooie's got his horn. It was just, it made me smile, because Banjo-Kazooie's a damn good game. And these guys have been left alone for too long. So good to see that they've made an appearance again in the Nintendo world. And hopefully that, with the popularity of those two, it can spark a new game, crossing my fingers. But I predicted that last week, and I'm happy because it came true. So I am excited about that. So, Banjo-Kazooie, welcome back to Nintendo.
Yes, definitely, man. That's really awesome.
So, throw it back to you, back your way on some more exciting things.
Yeah, man. All right, mate. So, two more big games I want to talk about that were officially announced with their release dates and all that sort of stuff at E3. And, of course, one of them is the title game that we're coming out with, the Xbox Scarlett, towards the end of 2020. And, of course, that's Halo Infinite. A lot of people are really excited about Halo Infinite. It looks like it's going to be probably the best Halo yet. So
it's a bold statement.
Yeah, man. It's going to be open world. It's going to have like a new engine. It's just going to be a brand new slip space engine, which is what's known as. So it's going to be unique in itself. It's going to be things that people have not yet experienced before. So look, mate, it's going to be pretty out there. A lot of people are excited about it to a point where, you know, even I, who's not even an Xbox fan, you know, that I might even, Jesus, mate, if I had the money, I'd probably end up buying myself a Scarlett as well. But at the same time, it's also been announced that it's going to launch on PC. So I'll probably end up just sticking to PC and playing on PC most likely.
Yeah.
So, but it just seems amazing with what I've heard about it. You know, so who knows? Who knows what it's going to be like, really? There's some brief details about it that people can check out for themselves, but, you know, just to say that brand new engine, you know, open world, not linear anymore. You know, so it's going to be something pretty awesome. You know, as long as you don't really have to play, you probably do, but as long as you don't really have to play too many of the other Halos to sort of get into it. I mean, the Halo will always stick to its lore because that's what makes it look. That's what makes Halo. But as long as you don't have to rely too much on the other games, you know, before you play this one to really get right into the story, a bit like Witcher. You know, you don't really have to play the other two games to sort of play Witcher 3.
Yeah.
So, you know, so hopefully it's something like that. But, mate, that's another one I'm excited about. And, of course, probably one most, apart from Cyberpunk, probably most other exciting, anticipated game that I can't wait to see and play this year is, of course, Jedi Fallen Order. It's a long-awaited single-player game that EA have cancelled twice to say that no one wants single-player games, they want multiplayer games, and then Respawn's come in and gone, as a matter of fact, they do, let us take over and we'll kick some ass. So that got officially announced at E3 of its launch date of November this year. So again, another game around about that September, October, November window. So that's going to be really cool. A lot of people have said that this is the game that really will make people feel like they are part of the Jedi game, which is what was stated by Respawn a couple of months ago. They said we're basically orientating our gameplay design to make the player feel like they are part of the game itself. They want them to feel like they're an actual Jedi when they play a game, and someone has done a bit of a demo and they said the same thing. They said they actually felt like they were a Jedi. They actually felt like they were part of the game. Decisions they were making were, you know, making part of the story and, you know, changing things about the game and that. So, yeah, man, that's definitely something that sounds really awesome, really exciting, very tingly. That's definitely going to scratch the scratch the Cyberpunk itch. Because everyone wants to play Cyberpunk now, but what games can we play between now and then? And there's a few that we can definitely play, just to sort of keep ourselves sort of satisfied for our palate while we're waiting. So that's definitely one as well. So Respawn's Jedi Fallen Order, the most anticipated single-player game, apart from Cyberpunk in the near future, November 15 this year. I can't wait to get my hands on that and start becoming part and be one with the Force, and throwing my lightsaber around and say stuff like, Luke, you are not my father, or something like that. I don't know. That was crap. But you know what I mean, mate. But, man, apart from my honourable mentions, mate, I've got not really much else to talk about. Let's hand it back to you.
Well, we breezed through this. I thought we were going to struggle.
We're doing all right. We're doing all right so far.
I thought we were going to struggle.
We're kicking ass.
We are. Okay, so another thing I did predict last week was the trailer and release of Luigi's Mansion 3. So that did come up. So that is exciting. The best part about... Well, first of all, have you played Luigi's Mansion?
No.
Well, I think it's probably, or maybe even, the best game on the GameCube, because the GameCube flies under the radar a little bit, you know, as far as games are concerned. Smash Brothers Melee, I think, is probably, was it Melee? Yeah, Melee was probably the GameCube's best game, but Luigi's Mansion is right up there, and I've been trying to get a hold of it for ages, and I haven't. They did drop that it is coming out in 2019, so... yeah, don't know the actual date yet, but it is 2019. Expect that September, October mark. Maybe they'll release it for Halloween, being it's a kind of spook game. So I'm predicting an October kind of one there. But if you don't know what it is, it's actually co-op. This is going to be a co-op almost like Super Mario Odyssey. So, you can do... it's almost like clearing rooms of ghosts and completing challenges to collect coins, and it can be played online on co-op or couch co-op. So that is the cool thing. What you can do, you can now summon a flubber-like version of himself that can like slip through bars and walk over spikes and stuff like that. So that is your kind of co-op counterpart by the looks of things. So it's almost like a ghostly, ghoulish, flubber-like version of Luigi. It's good. And it's the story is he's been invited to stay in like a hotel alongside his friends Mario, Peach, and Co. But the hotel isn't quite what it seems, and takes a dark and drastic turn. So that is the story. Everything is not what it seems, kind of thing. So yeah, it looks interesting. It looks like a bit of fun. Luigi's Mansion, the first two games were good, and if it's anything like the engine of Odyssey, I expect this one to be damn good. So it should be quite fun. Luigi's Mansion, definitely going to get my hands on that one. But I've left the best for last. This is what had me jizzing all over the place. I decorated my pants, the room, the ceiling, everything. It just shot out.
The dog.
I painted the room white.
You're right.
And that is the sequel to The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I was stoked at this one. Although the only problem is I'm going to have to wait till late 2020. So that's the only downfall. But Breath of the Wild is potentially the best Legend of Zelda game. I'd say it comes second to Ocarina of Time, but damn, as far as open worlds and looking at Hyrule are concerned, that game blew me away. The only thing people might argue is there might have the dungeons. There wasn't, because it's known for its dungeons, and there wasn't all too much in there. Understandably, I can see how people would see that. So hopefully they incorporate all that feedback into this sequel. I mean, the engine it ran on was just nice, and it's hard to explain it because you've never played the Switch, but if I was to put that game on for you and say, here you go, man, it's everything a game could be. It maybe has the best tutorial, because the tutorial is you playing. Everything about it was crazy. There's a few things in the trailers to note as well. Is that one thing is we actually might, for the first time ever, be able to actually play as Princess Zelda and not just Link, which will be pretty cool, because Link isn't doing things by himself now. He's there with Zelda in the trailer, and they look like they're kind of underground somewhere. And it's kind of like it almost in the trailer almost shows like a mummified kind of person there with like a red glowing sign on their head, which people are arguing looks very much similar to Ganondorf. And could he be making an appearance, because he was locked in the chamber? I mean, you don't know the story of Zelda, so you wouldn't probably understand a fucking word I'm saying here. And I'm not into fantasy games. It's probably the only fantasy game I like. But he was like locked in like the Chamber of Sages, and because when he goes to take over, Hyrule or the land, they locked him away in the Chamber of Sages, and it looks like he has stayed there and died and is almost mummifying. But with the fall of Ganon, looks like it could, it could have sparked some evil reappearing and coming back from the dead. So his old foe looks like it's coming back, which is really cool. I'd like to have a Ganondorf fight in there. They've had Ganon, now Ganondorf would be pretty cool. There's actually a teaser in the trailer that Link's got a glowing arm, which could be in reference to something they had as part of a Breath of the Wild DLC, a mechanic in the game where Link's arm could become kind of like a weapon if he had a certain tablet. And in the trailer he has the glowing arm, so they might be taking an old DLC idea and bringing it into the sequel. So don't know what's going to happen there, but whether or not they're going to incorporate that. But Breath of the Wild is it's going to be special, and I don't know if it's just going to be Breath of the Wild 2 or it's going to have a completely new name. All we know is there is a sequel, and, you know, I'm excited. I don't know where they're going to take this game. It was very, very strong in when it came out, and it was that and Odyssey. I mean, they couldn't have dropped two better games on the Switch when the Switch was first announced. But this one, I think there was no other news that probably could have made it as big as the release of a sequel of Breath of the Wild, and I'm so damn excited about it. Probably like you are about Cyberpunk, and now I'm all hyped up with Zelda again. So with Link's Awakening coming out, that might tie me over for a little while. Only, I mean, I've still got to wait another year and a bit for this, so it's gonna be hard. But we've really got to play the Switch together. I've really got to show you the Switch, and I'll just put on a couple of games for you, and I'll say, all right, you're in an open world of Breath of the Wild. Here, have fun. You'll just look at the graphics and be amazed. You'll just be like, holy shit! Like, the detail in this is incredible. But I'm pumped. That was the thing that I took out of E3 and went, Nintendo didn't have to say anything else but that, and I would have been happy. So I'm really stoked on that news. So yay, awesome, Zelda! And you can tell I'm passionate about it because I want to shut the fuck up about it. So
it's alright, man. Yeah, it's a bit like me with Rocket League.
Yeah, it's my favourite franchise and always will be. I've actually been considering getting a Triforce tattoo in the past week or two. So I'm going to be called a big nerd for the rest of my life, but I don't care.
Well, I promised myself that I overturn pro at Rocket League, I'll get a tattoo, Rocket League tattoo. Who knows? I still might get one. So because I can't see myself not playing it.
Well, I can't say I'll ever be a pro at Legend of Zelda because it's not something you can become a pro at. However, I do have an Ocarina, a Hylian Shield. I'm missing a Master Sword. So maybe if I got the Master Sword, then I can say I'm a true Zelda fan and then can get the tattoo. That's if they'll let me ship it over the border, because apparently it's a dangerous weapon.
Yeah, right. Interesting.
So if I can get a Master Sword, I think that will make me enough as a pro.
Yeah.
So
you get buried in your coffin with it.
I get buried holding my ocarina, and at the ceremony they just play like the Song of Time and lay me down to rest.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. But yeah, the only person who can have the sword is whoever can actually pull out the stone. So.
Yeah, Jesus.
I'm weak as piss, so it's not going to take much of a hero to pull that out.
You might have it. Yeah, you might have it like, implanted into your tombstone or something like that. That'd be pretty. That'd be pretty cool, actually.
Have the Hylian crest on my tombstone, make me look more important. I was a part of some kind of royal family. Anyway, moving on from being buried with a Master Sword. I'm too young to die. I don't want to die yet.
No, 50 years ahead of us yet. So
we've got time.
Yeah, it's got plenty of time. Ocarina of Time. So,
Jesus Christ.
Did I say that right? Is that right?
Ocarina of Time, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you never played it?
Bits and pieces. I've seen more than I've played. That was the one on 64, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, bits and pieces. I know you could whip your horse and he goes faster. That's pretty cool.
You can. And the detail in that 64 game is insane. Have you seen that they've done Ocarina of Time randomizers now? If you know what that is.
No.
You can play it on PC, but it's like in the game you had to follow a certain way of doing things. They've made it so all what weapons you find in treasure chests has been completely randomized. So you might have to do the game backwards or in a different way in order to complete it. And they've really complicated it and made it different. So anything could be anywhere, and it's just a game of luck of what you find. I was like, that's really cool. Randomizers is a thing now. I think they did it with Mario 64 as well. Like you go into a painting, say Bob-omb's Battlefield. You know how you have to go into it. Like you could go into that, and it could be TikTok clock. You're just like, oh shit, like now I'm going to get these real hard stars and do it in a completely weird way. It randomizes as a thing now.
That's very interesting.
So.
All right, man. Well, I'll go on the honourable mentions, I reckon, dude.
Yeah, go for it.
All right, so my honourable mentions are 3 games that sort of flew underneath the radar. They flew underneath the radar, but do not overlook them. They seem to be quite intriguing for what I quickly saw with their trailers and all that sort of stuff. So there's no release dates been announced, so these are sort of like reveals and all that sort of stuff. So basically the first one I really want to talk about is basically a game that's been announced by the Evil Within developers, and the game's called Ghostwire Tokyo. So it's supposed to be like a horror game, and it's in the trailer, whole crowds of Tokyo citizens suddenly vanish into thin air. Their discarded clothes are the only clue that they have of where they are about, and where they're all at. While most of the remaining people in the city rightfully freak out, one lone hooded figure calmly surveys the city, armed with a bow and arrows. The archer is clearly hunting for something. It turns out that something is a bunch of supernatural creatures, most of which look like modernized interpretations of Japanese yokai. So, yeah, man, it's I think it's like a some sort of third person sort of linear adventure game, story based, sort of spooky evil game. So, so probably has that sort of Last of Us sort of feel about it. So it's sort of what I've seen, but it hasn't really much has been come out. But it's being developed with one of Bethesda's Tokyo studios, I believe. So with like I said, Evil Within developers are sort of going with it. So that's a pretty cool little thing. I'll definitely keep my eye on that one. Another one I want to talk about is Deathloop. So Deathloop is another, I believe that's like a first-person action game from the creators of Dishonored. So basically, with that game, for what I could tell, basically Bethesda again is another sort of little cherry that they want to add to their cream. So Deathloop looks intense and action-packed. Bethesda says the world of Deathloop is designed to transport players into a lawless island called Black Reef, where you can experience the struggle of 2 extraordinary assassins. Your job will be to hunt down targets across the island, stop them from killing you, and if it's first you don't succeed, die and die again, apparently. So I think it's going to be somewhere along the lines of like a Dark Souls thing. So no word on when Deathloop will launch, but basically it's first person, you're an assassin, you're first person, you're on an island, you're going to die a lot, so you learn how to complete the game or progress with the game from making mistakes, obviously, and dying and all that sort of stuff. So I think sounds like Bethesda's come up with their own sort of rage game, a bit like Dark Souls and what's the game I'm playing at the moment? Shadows Die Twice, Sekiro, and all that sort of stuff. So, and this there's another one as well. That's basically this one's developed by the people that developed Layers of Fear. Again, these guys specialise in horror, and it is the Blair Witch. Yeah, man, the Blair Witch survival horror game. Yeah, so,
I saw that. I was like, oh, damn. I didn't know it was creators of Layers of Fear, though. That's exciting.
It's going to be nuts. That's going to fuck with your head. So I think that's what this game's going to be about, mate. So the nature of Blair Witch franchise has all the makings of a good horror game. Just imagine it. You're out in the dark woods, camera in hand, and creepy, terrifying things lurk in the shadows. With unexplained happenings, Oculist's themes and found footage style makes it right for the picking. So when the Blair Witch game trailer dropped at E3, it was a very welcoming surprise, especially since it's in good hands.
Layers of Fear though was real fucking like a head fuck, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Layers of Fear.
That's what I mean. This one's going to be mixed between fucking Outlast and Layers of Fear. The Bloober, the developers behind the chillingly brilliant Layers of Fear, are bringing us the first-person survival horror games inspired by the cult classic Blair Witch Project. I mean, everyone believed when that movie came out. I was fucking, how old was I? shit, I was like 14 or 15 when that movie came out, and everyone thought it was real. Everyone thought it was legit real.
It was very clever. It definitely inspired the likes of Paranormal Activity and the likes of that kind of movies.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I felt I was one of the. Yeah, man. I felt I was like one of the only people that knew it wasn't real. So, and everyone was like believing it was like fucking real. So imagine what the game's going to do to you. So
that's a really cool concept of a game, though, because that, Blair Witch. That's very smart. Very smart.
Well, you know what? I've got the best news for you, man. It's coming out on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC August 30. So in about 6 weeks' time.
Oh shit!
About 10 weeks' time it will come out.
Shit.
So
is there a co-op online?
Don't know, actually.
Because that would be fun.
To be honest, I like how you said that. That'll be fun. I'm like, yeah, nah, you're right, mate. I'll let you play it. Put it on your channel, and I'll just watch.
Hell yeah! I played Layers of Fear as well from my channel last October for Halloween, and I was doing a Halloween event, and I was really scratching to try and do 7 days in 7 different Halloween costumes. So I was really clutching the straws. So I ended up playing Layers of Fear as a pirate, putting on a pirate voice for an hour. Two things that don't go together. So hopefully I get this one out for Halloween and do this in some kind of other costume going through Blair Witch.
But it would, I'll probably most likely be getting it, most likely. Because it sounds like it's too good to pass up. I mean, I'm not a biggest fan of horror games, but I wouldn't mind putting more horror back on my channel again. I wouldn't mind getting some few jump scares on my channel. So apparently you even have a dog companion called Bullet. So that'd be interesting. Come here, boy. Come here. So you have to wait and see what happens. So, but yeah, man, that's some exciting stuff, and that's me all wrapped up for E3, mate. Buddy, have you got anything else to add before we give our final thoughts?
Yeah, just another one that was a trailer dropped for E3 that we haven't both spoken about, and that was Dying Light 2. That trailer looked damn cool, and it looks like the zombies aren't as much of the problem as much as the humans are now. And looks like the city has gone to shit once again. So it looks damn cool, and I'm hoping that's a this year release date as well. They announced at E3 last year that it was coming, but it still hasn't got here, and they did another trailer, so hopefully that's not far away, because Dying Light is damn good. And we've spoken about playing now. That is online co-op, so we can have a bit of fun with that.
Excellent. Definitely Dying Light for sure.
So, yeah, I'll just throw that out there. And apart from that, I've just got what happened today in the video game world, if you want me to go ahead with it.
Do it, man.
All right. On this day, the 13th of June, in 1986, going back a while, NES released what is known as one of the most frustrating and annoying games known ever all around the world, Ghosts and Goblins, which obviously sparked up Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the Super Nintendo, which was possibly more frustrating than ever. Today was the date that it announced the most hardest, the most difficulty, and the most anger-filling game ever. So, there you go. And we're talking about Ghosts and Blair Witch, so that kind of fitted the theme at the end there. It was all horror at the end there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It was all horror and zombies and the dead.
Bloody hell. So 33 years ago.
33 years ago, yeah. Which, funny enough, I'm going to be torturing myself tomorrow morning on my Twitch stream playing Super Ghouls and Ghosts. So if you wanted to tune in and watch me break shit, then come join me.
Yes, join.
Twitch TV /Jason616. Come in, laugh at me, and also give me sweet treats like jam donuts or something to get me through, and send them on over. I don't mind if they get here a week late. No, actually I do mind because they'll be stale. No, don't send me that. Just send me messages of jam donuts. That will make me feel better.
Yeah, some gifts.
Send me some gifts. Send me a send me something nice, like maybe a Steam gift card of about $500 Something like that. Nice. That'd be nice, yeah. Or if you want to do 1,000. I mean, hell, just give me and Naz a $500 one each so we can just play all the games we want.
Just give us your fucking mortgage, mate. Just give us your house.
I'll take a house. I'll take a house.
Yeah, just chuck it in the PayPal. No dramas at all.
Sweet.
Yeah. That's a nice Ferrari you got there, mate. Mine now.
You own this? No, I do.
Yeah, now I do. So, yeah, cool, man. But look, mate, just quickly, I'll touch up on final thoughts of E3. So before I wrap it up, so of course, a lot of people are saying that this year's E3 wasn't as good as last year's E3. Was it because of the gaming titles? Was it because, the lack of presence from other, gaming, basically production businesses and that being there? Well, I thought it wasn't all that bad. I mean, E3 is always exciting in my opinion. Yeah, sure, there's a lot of people that wanted games to be announced that weren't quite there yet and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I predicted CD Projekt Red to come out and announce Witcher 4, but that so far hasn't really happened. I mean, they're in the closing stages of E3 now, so we still might hear something later on tonight. So we'll touch up a bit more on that next week. But yeah, I mean, this year, this year was a bit more of a dead duck of the water, but I thought it was still pretty good. Everyone's excited about Cyberpunk. It definitely satisfied some of my expectations. Maybe last year was a little bit better, but all around, some great games to be excited about, some great presentations. Still waiting to hear about Sony as well. It's still not too late. I'm sure we'll hear from them over the next couple of days. Yeah. And hopefully that will blow our socks off, just like with Xbox. And of course Last of Us 2 will be keeping a close eye on that. If Last of Us 2 doesn't get announced over the next couple of weeks, then something's wrong. So
wait for that one. That's going to come. That's going to come out. That has to come out, man.
Yeah, I want to hear that straight from Sony. I don't want to hear it from... Sony has announced and Sony hasn't said anything. They've just told people. I doubt that would happen, but they'll have to come out and say something. I don't want them just to release a trailer. I want them to announce it. So I want them to do something. So, because that's, I'm going to buy a whole console just to play that game. So I want them to convince me to buy a console. So it's got to be a matter of what console I'll buy when the release of Last of Us will be. So if Last of Us gets released this year, I'll end up buying a PS4 Pro. I won't bother with the PlayStation 5.
Yeah. And if you want to, and if you're hearing this podcast and you want to go on to the PSN network on PS4, actually The Last of Us Remastered is going for $14 at the moment.
That's pretty awesome.
So if you want to play it, now is your time.
Yes, that's what I'll have to do. I know me. I've done 6 playthroughs. I've done 3 playthroughs of Last of Us, and I know for a fact I'm going to have to do a 4th. No, how many playthroughs have I done? No, I've done 6 playthroughs of Last of Us.
So it'll be 7.
I'm going to have to do a 7th. I know. I'm going to want to play it again before I play number 2. So, but yeah, apart from that, mate, unless you got anything else to add, let's wrap this baby up.
Dude, let's wrap it up. We crammed so much into this time as well, so very well done to the both of us for getting through our content. I was worried when we started this. I thought there is no way in hell we're going to get this in.
So did I. But, mate, we made it short and sweet and fantastic.
Yeah,
so
we got it in there.
We did. All right, so cool.
Wrap it up, dude.
Let's wrap it up. All right, guys. Thanks very much for joining us. You are now all up to date on the latest E3, PC, console, retro, and Nintendo gaming news. As always, Jason, thanks very much for joining me. Don't be afraid to check out his channel as well. As always, I will leave a link in the description below to his channel. And as always, Jace.
Same goes for me. Check out NASG Gameplays. Link in the description below for me. Great content. We're like the perfect duo. We're the dream team. We're I don't know. We're just amazing.
We're Tango and Cash.
Yeah, we're Toe Jam and Earl. I'll be Earl. You can have the Toe Jam.
Yeah, we're like Banjo and Kazooie. And, Diddy and Donkey Kong.
We're like the stormtroopers to Darth Vader. I'm the one that donks his head on the door.
Right. Okay.
Have you seen that? The blooper that was in the Star Wars movie when he walks through the door and he like whacks his head on the door. He doesn't get under the door in time. Have you seen?
That's right. Yeah,
I'm that guy. Yeah, I'm that guy.
Yeah. Classic. Classic. We're like Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. Oh no, this is just getting worse.
As long as we're not Jar Jar, we're fine.
Alright guys, we will see you all in the next JayNAS Podcast episode next week. Bye!
See ya!